What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
The originals, as well as the Vampire Diaries, gave birth to Legacies, the series that focuses on the magical abilities and adventures of Hope Mikaelson, the most powerful descendant of the werewolf, witch, and vampire bloodlines. The show was so successful, partly because it already had an established audience, that it managed to get to the CW network to sign papers for Season 3. But do you know that you may have missed some of these little-known details in the first season? That's why today, we will be looking at the 10 details you never noticed in Legacies. Let's jump right in, people! Number 10. Hope's spell. We know that MG went missing during spring break. None of his friends knew where he was, but Hope had a plan. She wanted to use a spell that would create a magical elixir. This elixir was created with the help of one of her mother's spell. This was Hayley's recipe that she got from the Crescent Pack, basically a wolf pack. This elixir would help Raphael access his wolf mind without the need to turn into a werewolf and discover the whereabouts of MG and learn what happened to him. We were thrilled to hear that they decided to make this connection and drop a subtle Easter egg for the true Originals fans, who know all about the Crescent Pack, and we know these guys were under a curse that forced them to be eternal werewolves, except during a full moon. Number 9. The dress to get an edge. When Lizzie forfeited the Miss Mystic Falls contest, she wants to prepare Hope to not only compete, but also win the pageant. She begins by giving her answers to the most common question that the jury is likely to ask her for the Q&A section of the competition. Plus, she tells her that the answers she gives are the most important part. They have to be emotional and prove that she has a troubled past. And to tip the scales in her favor even further, she opens up a box that shows us her mother's old dress, saying that they can have it altered to fit her well. And any fan of the originals knows that Klaus gave Caroline the dress the third season of the show. Lizzie knew what she was doing, and her tips and tricks really helped her win the show and become the next Miss Mystic Falls. You remember that elixir we talked about before? The one that Hope made using her mother's spell? Yeah, that one. We just wanted to say it didn't come with a price. Raphael had some nasty side effects from accessing his wolf mind in human form. He began losing time and he couldn't control his aggression. To fix the problem she had caused, Hope offered to give him a reverse KYANITE ring. She then explained that the ring was given to her by a friend. If you remember the KYANITE rings or moonlight rings from the originals, then you will know these rings were used to smash that like button if you haven't done that already. But seriously now, they were used by werewolves to control their transformation. This one was special. Although it would help him deal with the problems he's been having and turn himself into a werewolf at will, he will need Hope's help to turn himself back into his human form. 7. The Crisis on Infinite Earths comic. When Lizzie and MG were reading comic books at school, and this detail was so subtle, you could miss it by just blinking for a half second. The extremely short scene made it that much more difficult to notice this little detail that had to do with the comic books Lizzie was reading. If you look in, you can see that she holds a Crisis on Infinite Earths comic in her hand. This is one huge reference to the Arrowverse and all the characters that were featured in the series. Not to mention, MG was reading The Flash, another one of their popular superhero shows that airs on the CW network. Guess they really wanted to promote their own shows through a subtle and subconscious way. Number 6. The Library. The season opens up by showing Landon wandering around the school he eventually get into the Stefan Salvatore Memorial Library. This was a great beginning to the show, as we all know who Stefan Salvatore from Vampire Diaries is, when he sacrificed himself in order to prevent Catherine from destroying Mystic Falls. Apparently his death was not in vain, as he even got an entire school library named after him. It's so cool to see Landon walking around and discovering all the relics that were left behind by Stefan. They were all encased in a special glass container that had his journals, the necklace he gave to Helena, not to mention the daylight ring. Now this is how you begin a spin-off series that fans were begging to see. Number 5. The Strange Contraption. Lizzie and Josie find a strange contraption in the last episode of the first season. Josie had stolen the iconic red box from her father's office. After cracking open the lock, she brought it to Josie to show it to her. They both feel drawn to it, and they can't shake the feeling that they know it from somewhere. And the strange contraption continued appearing throughout the second season. One day, Lizzie told her that they made it with the help of their Aunt Bonnie. That was the first clue for all of us Vampire Diaries fans out there. We know this item from the episode where Bonnie imprisoned Kai. It's called an Ascendant, and it was used to trap Kai in that weird karaoke world where he was left alone. Number 4. HELLFIRE. When the first episode aired, we also got to see Dorian, the librarian of the school, teaching a magic class. He was actually a substitution teacher that was filling the gap for another teacher that died in a hellfire. And this was like rubbing salt on a TVD fan's wound. We all know that in the final episode of the Vampire Diaries, almost all of our characters got scorched to ashes due to the hellfire accident. And Stefan losing his life in the hellfire was not a particularly bad thing, because he got to help Bonnie control the hellfire that got released from the bell tower, even defeating it while putting the flames back where they came. Number 3. The Blood Fountain and the Travelers. When the Blood Fountain had been activated, all of the witches lose their powers, while the gang was being shot by Malivore Mud. Hope managed to sneak into the chamber and find the fountain, but she didn't know how to deactivate it so the others could get their powers. That's when Alaric shows up. With a few simple moves, he manages to destroy the vicious spell that the fountain released. The reason he was able to stop the fountain was because he knew the people who cast the spell. They appeared in Season 4 and 5 of the Vampire Diaries. The most memorable representatives of this ancient tribe of witches were Silas and Quisaya, who actually found a way to make themselves immortal. But as we all know, immortality is impossible, and nature always finds the special loophole to make it possible. Number 2. Landon's Resurrection Background Song. Of the most heartbreaking scenes in the first season of the Vampire Diaries happens during episode 13. There, the heroes mourn Landon's death, but then MG notices something peculiar and unusual happening with his body. From smoke to fire and then ashes, Landon's body turns to ash, and then, like a phoenix, he rises from the dust and is oblivious to what has happened to him.
What's going on?
Because of the emotional scene, many fans didn't pay attention to the song that was being played in the background. We were preoccupied with Landon's death to notice the song playing in the background. But if you pay close attention, you will notice that is actually the same song that was played during the scene where Elijah said that he wanted to die alongside his brother Klaus in the originals. This is one of the most subtle Easter eggs that many fans missed. Number 1. Kai's Return. When MG borrowed a camera to film Lizzie and the invisible Sebastian, he got a little surprise from Kai. We all got to see the video that Kai shot during the Vampire Diaries Season 6. This was just a small preview of what was about to happen in the season. We practically screamed when we saw Kai make his tremendous comeback in Legacies during the second season. He saved Josie's life. Even though he was the main antagonist in TVD, he is still the ruthless, egotistic bad guy that we love to hate. And you might notice that the show made a reference to Miss, Cuddles, the teddy bear, as well as the fact that he still loves the fizzy Zima. And on that note, we end this video. But hey, did you happen to notice any other Easter eggs that we forgot to mention here? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.